Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for your next week. The way pick a card readings work is I have 3 piles in front of us and you get to use your intuition to pick the cards, piles, numbers, or objects. I will be placing them here in a moment that resonate for you. And then I put the timestamps down below, and then I will use my intuition to read the cards for you for the energy of your next week. Now, this week is really interesting because if you're watching this when I upload the video, we are coming off of a full moon in Gemini, so communications is highlighted. Gemini is all about communication. The full moon is all about release, so letting go, information coming in, truths. So letting go of any negativity, negative thoughts, negative communications, and releasing that. But we also have Venus in retrograde that happens the day after the full moon in Gemini. So relationships are highlighted at this time, and then we can come up with some conflicts. Like conflicts in relationships can really happen when we've got Venus in and it could be miscommunications too when we've got the Gemini full moon and we've got Venus in retrograde. But that really highlights to teach us something new, teach us about our relationships, teach us about the people that we love. And it can come up because a relationship is toxic and we need to release it. It can come up to teach us that we can trust this person and trust our relationships. It just depends on the things that are coming up. So I just want to put those things out there because I've actually already done the readings and some of those things come up in the readings. So I like it when the readings and the astrology come together. So for objects, if you want to pick with objects, for group 1, our object is a Christmas tree cookie. For group 2, our object is a Santa cookie. And for group 3, our object is a reindeer cookie. So pause the video if you need to pick the right card. Otherwise, I will meet you at your reading. Thank you. Hello, group 1. If you picked the Christmas tree cookie, you are in the right spot. And welcome to your reading. So we're going to start off with, and I'll put these over here to the side, the overall vibe of your next week, and we get your hard work is paying off, new moon in Capricorn. So what's really awesome about this, it's the very next new moon. So I feel like this is going to be an energy carrying you into the new year because it's actually the first new moon of the new year, which is on January 2nd, is the new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. It's very practical. It is down to earth and it is but it's going to be about more material things. So we're thinking your job, we are thinking your body, we're thinking your home, things that you can touch, taste, and feel, and put your hands on. So definitely work related. One of these things that I read a long time ago, probably in a women's magazine, was on January, like things to do with the new year. And I always usually do this is brush up your resume. Use this time to brush up your resume, send it out, think about your how you have been surviving this year, and next year how you want to be thriving. And it was talking about, and it's actually really good to just take a moment to look at all of the things that you've accomplished and all of the things that you've done and the position that you're in right now. And is this where you want to be? And I feel like, it may not be. It may be time to start a new cycle. We're staring at this new year. I'm not big on New Year's resolutions because I feel like we can make resolutions at any time. But this is the perfect time for you to think about that, to think about starting something new career-wise. Let's take a look at the tarot cards that came out for you. We've got 9 of Cups, This is the wish card. So what is it that you really wish to do? You right now are, I keep getting this like surviving, let's start thriving as a message. And then we've got the Nine of Swords. So we've got 2 9s here. This is kind of like, getting there. Really, 9s in numerology are completion of a cycle. 0s go back to like the conclusion of it. So I feel like this week you are looking at the conclusion of, and even if we look at the calendar, wrapping up this year, conclusion of that. I feel like the 9 of Swords comes in because you can see like the 9 of Swords pointing down. This is staying up all night. This is having like some anxiety about some things. Change can do that for us, especially when we're like, okay, what now? I know that I'm like almost done with this thing. Maybe I'm almost done with your position at work. Like you feel like you've accomplished everything that you can to do there. What now? In a fitness kind of level, in your body kind of level, like are you at a plateau? Do you need to change things up? Have you been doing yoga and now you want to work maybe on your waist or your core and you want to pull in some Pilates, something like that. But when you know that you're making a change, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, how's it gonna go? I'm really used to the way that things are. I was accustomed to doing something in 2021. I got familiar with it. It was started becoming pretty easy for me. Do I really want to shake things up? That's what this 9 of Swords is asking. The other interesting thing is swords is information coming in, and sometimes it can be like kind of overwhelming when we get a lot of information, when we get a lot of things coming in. In the intro, I talked about the full moon being in Gemini. I talked about information coming in, using your discernment. Is your dreams really what you want it to be? Because it's really interesting when we have the juxtaposition of the dream card, the wish card, that all my wishes come true. And then it keeps us up at night, like, oh my gosh, and sometimes it can keep you up in like a good way, like a night before Christmas kind of way. Like, yes, this is exciting. Let's do this. We have the Lovers. Let's go ahead and get all of these out and then I'll read the whole thing. And then we've got the 7 of Wands. Very interesting. So we get like this kind of wave for you, wave of like really fun and great energy, really like leveling up. I see the Lovers as like a leveling up card. Lovers is also very connected to Gemini, and we've got the Swords. So a lot of information coming in for you, a lot of things for you to process, and it can be kind of tough. It can feel like you're walking a tightrope. The 7 of Wands too, I feel like if you are in, you might be concerned about what other people are thinking and what they're feeling. And I feel like you need to make a decision, like what is really best for you. I love the imagery here. We've got the trees behind on this one. And then we've got the 2 trees, the same trees over here in the Lovers. Which the tree is super important in the Lovers card because this is Adam and Eve. This is a decision being made. This is a level up, if you will. I know the traditional story is, and it still is this way. It's just looking at it through a new lens. With the story of Adam and Eve, Adam takes a bite of the apple and they gain a knowledge, right? They gain something there, and then they look around and they're no longer happy with where they are. The only thing that shifted for them was their consciousness. All of a sudden they realized they were naked. They felt like they needed to hide their bodies. And in the Bible, it's presented as kind of like this, very negative thing. We get kicked out of the Garden of Eden. The whole rest of the Bible is basically, how are we going to get back there? How are we going, and it's represented as in heaven. But I feel like a lot of what we're talking about and being very practical with here with the new moon in Capricorn is how are we going to make heaven on earth for you? And making choices, making decisions where you level up and you shift that thinking into something, very positive. It can be uncomfortable though, because let's think about times in your life when you level up. High school graduation, right? It's so much fun. It's everything you wish for, everything you worked for, but a cycle is ending and then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do next? with this. And it's like, okay, well, you're no longer going to go to school every day, which was fun, but now, you know, a new journey starts. And it can be really, really great depending on how you take all of the knowledge base that you have, Capricorn, and your hard work is paying off. Like, take those grades, take that GPA and apply it to college, or apply it to, you know, going out and enjoying the world, or going out and getting your first job. So, let's go back to this. So your next week is one of, like, it kind of, you need to figure out how to harness it, because it can be super exciting, but it can be kind of nerve-wracking. And I feel like this tightrope is kind of like you know, how do you handle it? How are you going to look at it? And I feel like that's what I love about this new moon in Capricorn is it's like, okay, treat it as a new beginning. You aren't leaving things behind. You're just leveling up. You're going to someplace better. You're taking all of your knowledge and you are like gaining a new perspective out of it. And you're making this Lover's card is also how you make decisions. This is a heart over head decision. This is thinking with your heart chakra, thinking with your heart, thinking with love, like what is right for you. And the Seven of Wands suggests that maybe what's right for you, you may be concerned about what other people think about that. You may be concerned with how you're going to handle telling your significant other, telling your parents, telling your friends. Maybe it's a coworker kind of situation, like, okay, I'm going for this promotion. New moon in Capricorn, 9 of Cups says that it's very likely that you'll get it, whether that is a position outside of the company that you currently work, or whether that's within your company and you're like, okay, well, when I do this, I have some new challenges. Like, I'm not sure, like, I love the people I work with, but how are they going to handle it? If now I'm their new boss, or now I go to a new department, or now I go to the you know, whoever is competing, or what if, how are they going to handle it if I decide to, like, I've been on this career path and I'm like, you know what, I want to be my own boss. All of the cards here suggest that you, whatever steps you take, can be very, very successful. It can be kind of tricky to navigate, but it is really, the only thing that's holding you back is how you are looking at it and how you navigate that situation. I really, you know, this 9 of Swords also is kind of like its darkest before the dawn, as well. So it's not that you're going to be in this kind of like anxiety position forever. You're going to move past it. And then let's see what advice cards we have. We have Poised. And I love this because it's like you're on a pedestal and it's like, just go for it. Just jump for it. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel really freeing. And I love like this idea of the poised next to the Seven of Wands, right? Because the Seven of Wands is when you're looking down at presumably these are people who have the wands and they're kind of like pointed towards you and like, what are you doing here? What are you doing with your career? And they're asking you questions and you're like, whoa, okay, I didn't expect all this kind of like feedback from that. And it suggests a little bit of worry here. It suggests that you have taken a step to stand out and now you're like, oh my gosh, you know, what have I gotten myself into? But Poised suggests that, okay, after that like initial shock that people might have, whether that's your friends or your significant other, like it's very freeing for you. Like you have to do this because it's gonna feel good. It's what is meant to be. It's what you're supposed to do. And then Flexible. And, you know, I mentioned something about, you know, things in Capricorn being career related, but also can be very physically related to your body. And for some of you, this flexible could be, yeah, pick up a yoga routine, pick up something that's going to make you feel good, because it's going to integrate into your body and mind. And advice for you if you are like mentally, your thoughts are keeping you up at night, doing something physical with your body is very, very helpful to calm the mind. It's weird how that happens. But it does. Like going out for a walk, doing some yoga, doing something that feels good for you, feels good for your body, and it's going to get you kind of like, I mentioned something about like a plateau with your routine, whatever that routine might be. You know, work on your flexibility, try something else, set some goals like that in that way. But flexible can also mean like with your dream job or what you wish to do, you might have to, it might look different than you thought it would. And for instance, maybe your dream job doesn't exist. Maybe you brush up your resume and you send it out and you're like, I'm not really finding, I really want to be a social media manager. I'm not really finding that out there for somebody to hire me to do that. But maybe it's because you need to create it yourself. Maybe you need to start your own thing. And that's kind of why it's like, yes, it's super exciting. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, this is a little too much. But again, with the level up and the, you know, the 7 of Wands is like, okay, it's not going to, you know, when you do set out to do something, of course you're going to meet some obstacles. But I love the tightrope is here because, and then this is a spider doing the tightrope. And it just looked like he's a little bit concerned about it. But I also feel like there's all of the qualities. He has all of the qualities, all of the agility, all of the skills to move past this and to get everything that he wants. And remember, this is just a 5 to 7 day week time frame. If you're watching this when I'm uploading this, obviously like January 2nd, I feel is like you're going to be very, you know, connected to this week. I feel like it's going to be a little bit longer than the whole week. But if you are watching this later, of course, you know, new moon in Capricorn, just that represents a specific energy of starting over, starting anew, starting with doing everything that you dreamed of. Is there going to be obstacles? Yes. But making heart over head decisions and making, you know, putting that foot forward and stepping out for you. Are you going to get some flack? Maybe. But it's going to feel very refreshing for you in the end. And, you know, be flexible with your plan. Be flexible with how you're going. And because it may not, you know, sometimes we have this idea of like, I'm going to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and we get going down that path and it doesn't work out exactly that way. You have to improvise as you go. And that's okay. Be open to that because it very likely will be that way. But you can't plan for everything and you don't know what the obstacles are until you start down this path. Trust your future self with your future issues. So that's what I have for you, Group 1. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, Group 2, and welcome to your reading for your next week. If you picked the Santa cookie or, well, whatever reason you picked Group 2, you're in the right place. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to start off with this card. It's time to release negativity, and this is the full moon in Scorpio that got pulled for you. Lovely, very interesting. First of all, I feel like, you know, if you're watching this video when I upload it, we are coming into this week after the full moon in Gemini. Gemini is all about communication. Gemini is all about, oh, and then we also have Venus in retrograde. So that makes a lot of sense. I know I'm like Venus, Scorpio, but it makes sense because Venus is about our relationships, and Scorpio is about our emotions. So we've got communication, relationships, emotions, and we've got full moon. It's time to release a lot of things coming in here. When we have this card, it feels like there's some unfinished business going on. It feels like there's some negativity that is kind of keeping you trapped in a relationship. And what I mean by that is, if you think about your ex and you're like, oh, that jerk, right? That keeps you trapped in that relationship, that keeps you connected to that person. If you really want to release your ex, you have to let it go. You have to forgive them. Even if you don't talk to them, even if they don't deserve forgiveness, they probably don't. But you know who deserves forgiveness? You do. You deserve to let it go. You deserve to not let it affect you anymore. It deserves to be gone. And that is kind of what this is talking about. Is it going to be easy? Are there emotions involved? Are there thoughts involved? Yeah, there is. There's a lot of things involved here, which is why you really do need to work on releasing it. Now, a lot of times readings will just be like, oh yeah, release that. Okay, well, that's easier said than done, right? Especially when you keep thinking about it, especially when it keeps coming up. What helps release that, and what helps actually when we have Venus in retrograde and we have some hard times with our relationships, we need to look at our relationships as lessons. What did this try to teach me? When I have this negative feeling towards my ex, what does that actually teach me? What does that actually mean? And when you start digging down and feeling your emotions, because Scorpio feels their emotions, and when you start realizing what that means, then you're like, okay, now I can start releasing it. Now I can start letting go. It almost reminds me of like a super tense muscle. Like if you've ever gotten a massage and then they put their thumb right there on like that, and it's right in the middle of it. And you're like, what is going on? You got to put your finger on it. You've got to and then you feel it, and it's pretty intense, but that's how you release and let go. Another way that can really help you is write it down, write a letter about it, get it out of your head. I normally, when we're coming into a week when we have a full moon in Gemini, like we've got so many thoughts. And when you pull this card, full moon in Scorpio, it's time to release negativity. I feel like it's super negative, super toxic thoughts. We got to let it go. We can't bring it with us. And you don't deserve to like relive this thing over and over and over again. I'm going to put these over here and let's get out the rest of our cards. 4 of Cups. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, and I will tell you why in a moment. 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, you worked hard. 6 of Wands. You worked hard in that relationship or friendship. And then Knight of Pentacles. And you keep thinking about how hard you worked. Why didn't it work out? You worked so hard. You put so much effort into it. You put so much time into it. But the 7 of Pentacles can also mean like, yeah, it's time to cut your losses. It's time to let it go. Whether that is Pentacles, we've got 2 Pentacles here, Knight of Pentacles, and then 7 of Pentacles, whether it's a job, whether that is, in your relationship with yourself and that job, and it's just not working out no matter how hard you work, whether it is a relationship, like I've tried, or whether it is just a situation where you're like, you know what, I have been working on this thing for 2 years. I've been doing everything that society says to do, but it's not helping. It's just making things worse. It's time to cut your losses. It's time to move on, because both the 6 of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles are moving on towards better things. It's creating better things. It's putting your effort from this toxic situation and moving on to something very positive. It is letting go of fear. It's letting go of that negativity and then moving into joy. And the Six of Wands is about joy. I know, like, the look on his face is kind of very smug. It's just this card, though. It is like a time to, like, you know what? I am doing really well, even though I was trapped in this kind of like bubble of negativity for a while. Maybe it's a bubble of fear. I'm walking away. We're releasing it. In fact, we're going to ride our horses away. We're getting away from this negative situation. We are releasing it. Does it mean that we ignore our emotions? Actually, we kind of have to face our emotions to release it, is what full moon in Scorpio means. So there's a lot of toxicity we're releasing. There's a lot of negativity we're releasing. We've been sitting under this little tree here in the Four of Cups. We're this little person sitting under the tree, being mad, kind of like, but it's trapped. We're trapping ourselves. We're trapping ourselves over what we are looking at. We're trapping ourselves over these negative emotions that we just keep looking at, these cups that are half empty. And we are not happy with any of these situations that is in front of us. But guess what? If we have a new perspective, we're literally being handed joy. We're being handed a cup of joy. And all we need to do is turn around and accept it. It's just because we keep kind of getting into this cycle of like, but I worked so hard. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did everything that, usually there's some sort of like collective society, like, well, in a relationship, if you do this, if you give your partner flowers, if you like call them, you know what I mean? Like there's this like preconceived idea of what like success is supposed to look like. And you've done those things. You've checked all those boxes. You've done those things. You've worked really hard. But the problem is, like, did the other person do it? The problem is, like, was the situation right for you? Even if you did everything right and the situation wasn't right, it's still like very draining. And again, it's time to release this negativity. It's time to release everything over here that has been draining. It's time to release all of this negative thinking. And it may take a minute. The Knight of Pentacles is, I'm moving on. But this Knight is kind of a slow moving Knight. The Knight is like this whole field back here is plowing the field. But it's okay because you actually have like a job. Like you have something to focus on. You have a goal. You're gonna get this field plowed. Why are you doing it? Well, you're doing it for yourself, your own well-being, but you're also doing this for the people around you. You're doing it for the people who depend on you. And I feel like we've got the Seven of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. You look at yourself as somebody who's very, very dependable. You look at yourself as somebody who can like follow the things for success, if you will. The Six of Wands, though, is saying like, hey, maybe it wasn't fully successful, but there was still some successes in here. You're kind of being hard on yourself. And we're going to walk away with our experience. We're not going to start from scratch into a new situation. We're going to walk away from experience, and we're finding joy. We're looking for something good and positive and fun for ourselves. We're letting all this like negativity go and like these preconceived notions of what we're doing, because you know that it's wrong because it feels wrong. Okay? Like everybody is telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's not working out. All you've had is like this negative, these negative feelings, and it's been toxic. It's been super toxic for you. We're letting it go. And we've got Unfinished Symphony and we've got Blessed. So I'm going to start off with Unfinished Symphony. I kind of love it over here over the Seven of Pentacles because it feels like you want to finish something. It feels like you want to make it okay. And there's just some things like I have this feeling too, is like, I'm so close. I want to finish it, but it's like, is it worth it anymore? Or do I need to just start it from a new way, a new perspective? I kind of feel like I've been working so hard over here and you realize that it's a golden carrot. You realize that it's like, oh, it's never going to be finished. It's never going to be finished. I have to move on to finish it. And then we've got blessed. And I love blessed coming over here. I love it, especially with the Six of Wands. I love it with the Knight of Pentacles, because it's like, once you do move on, like something beautiful and unexpected is going to come in for you. I also love it because she's like here kind of in meditation. She's got her prayer hand. She's got her wings. She's flying. She's putting protection around herself. And when I'm saying that, she is not allowing other people's negativity or to surround her. She's not allowing whatever preconceived notions of the past to like push her into negative space anymore. This is like having released and really feeling free and finding that new perspective, because she's like elevated, finding that new symphony. The old one just didn't work out. You know what? I'm getting an idea that as prolific a writer as a lot of like Beethoven or Mozart were, that they still have stuff that was undone. They still have stuff that they probably started and didn't. Leonardo da Vinci had like tons of sketchbooks, and a lot of it didn't go anywhere. A lot of it was genius and it just didn't go anywhere. And that's okay. It's okay to leave something unfinished if it's not taking you anywhere. When you start with a fresh perspective and leaving like the toxicity and the negativity behind, this feeling of being blessed, and like all of the sudden you open yourself to new possibilities coming in. And blessed suggests that something new and something beautiful is going to come in that you aren't seeing at the moment because you're so focused on the negativity. But as soon as you look up from that and move away from it, you're going to find something lovely for you, group 2. So that's what I have. I hope that you have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. If you picked the reindeer, you are in the right spot. So let's go ahead and see what cards came out for you. So the first card, actually, we have 2 cards that flew out for you. So I was like, we got to take them both. And we have you and your loved ones are safe, new moon in Cancer, and expect powerful change. New moon eclipse. So new moons are about change. They're about new things. They're about, things flowing in and fresh starts and new things. So I love this for you. Important thing is, and I feel like this new step that's coming in, it's really important to make sure that it aligns with you and your family values. It almost feels like priority should be on family. Priority should be around that. However your family looks, your family could be like full of friends, and prioritize that. Cancer can also talk about self-care and putting yourself first and making sure that you are taken care of and that your emotions are taken care of. That is really important, because whatever change that's coming through, sometimes even if we've asked for this change, and even if it's welcome change and we want this change, sometimes change can be very difficult. We are human. We are creatures of habit. We are people who, we look for creating routines that makes us feel good. Our ego feels good when we have a routine. However, the only thing that is constant is change. Change is constant for everything. Everything is changing. Everything is evolving. So it almost reminds me of, you know, we were talking about the new normal, the new normal, the new normal. Well, if you aren't happy with the new normal, you know, we're never going back to the past. But that means that we're never going back to the new normal either. We can just keep going through, you know, when you're going through hell, keep on moving, keep on going, because what's really important is embracing change and then being that co-creator in the universe and making the change that works for you. And I feel like that's what's really important for you, Group 3, and realizing that the connections that we have, the people we have around us are really, really important. If you're watching this video as I'm uploading it, we're probably in a Venus retrograde right now, which means that relationships can be strained a little bit. We can find some difficulties in it, but what is important is that we are using those lessons, that we're using the change as a way to evolve, not only ourselves, not only for the person that, you know, our relationship is changing with, but for the relationship itself. So there's actually 3 things involved. There's you, there's them, there's the relationship itself. And just from a customer service standpoint, I always say, because I've been in customer service a lot, that if you have a good experience with a company, are you willing to use them again? Yeah, but you might be willing to try somebody else. Where that relationship actually grows is if you have, like, you know, we always have complications, we always have problems, but if you have a problem with a company and they fix it and they do an excellent job of fixing it, that's where you earn like that customer for life, is because that relationship was challenged a little bit and you realize that you can depend on them. You realize, oh yes, you know, this is, you know, things are easy when they're easy, right? And when you're in a relationship with somebody and things are, you know, going well, everybody is in their dream job and making all of the money and it's very happy. But when one person loses their job and you kind of have to like look at some, you know, tightening the belt, and then you come out on the other side of that stronger, like that's when you really learn something about you, the other person, your relationship. And remember that even if things feel like they're kind of rocky, this too shall pass. So again, we're gonna hit obstacles with everybody. And that when I just said that, it kind of reminded me of like my husband versus my ex-boyfriend. You know, obviously I, you know, chose my husband over that because I did have a similar situation, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this seemed like it would be like really difficult because of what I had gone through in the past with somebody else. But it actually, like, wow, we worked on it together. We had this partnership, and it taught me something about our relationship when we reached that obstacle. 10 of Cups. So beautiful family things going on. Cups is also related to Cancer. And 3 of Cups, again, working together. Cups related to Cancer as well. I love it when the cards, like from 2 different decks, confirm each other. Death is about change, powerful change, inescapable change. And then we've got Ace of Swords, so lovely, like moving forward, feeling like this breath of fresh air. It might be kind of difficult right now, but again, this too shall pass. And I feel like the people around you and that you surround yourself with are really going to help you through your change. That starts with you. That starts with you taking care of yourself. And with cups, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to give yourself what you need, and then you can radiate that out to other people. But other people are here to help you. 10 of Cups, 3 of Cups. Love both of these cards. 3 of Cups traditionally is friends coming together, to help each other out. 10 of Cups is the ultimate beautiful family moving forward. If you're not there at the moment, just keep your eye on the prize. Again, this too shall pass. I feel like this, you know, and especially when we had the new moon in Cancer, you and your loved ones are safe. So even if it feels like you're going through a storm or things are kind of rocky, you know, and again, when we have Venus in retrograde, it can feel like that, you know, astrologically, but you're going to really see people coming together for you. And this can be, it's also coming up for me, like when you have something that's unknown, when you have a question, when you need something answered, it almost feels like some of this 3 of Cups and the people coming together for you might be somebody that you don't even know right now. But I love what's great about technology. LinkedIn is, you know, even YouTube, Instagram, you're able to connect with people and you can ask them a question, like shoot them a question like, hey, you know, I know this sounds like really weird, but I see that you know, your Instagram is all about yoga. Do you have a suggestion on how to get this pose? You know, as an example, right? And you can ask those questions and get interactions with people. And I feel like it's like they are excited to help you. They're like, yeah, hey, thanks for recognizing me as an authority on this. Yes, you know, I'll point you in the right direction. Go over here and find that. And it LinkedIn, and as an example, you can find job recruiters there if you're looking for a job and you're like, hey, or even people like, connect with somebody in your community who is a friend of a friend and they work in that, hey, how do I get in touch with your HR department, or are you guys hiring? And more than likely, people come together and help you, because we've got the 10 of Cups here about community. We've got the 3 of Cups here. It's a really beautiful time for people to come together and help you. You might have some strained relationships. You might have some things, but it's really going to teach you what you're about, what they're about, what your relationship is about. Sometimes we might have to let go of relationships. Sometimes we might have to release them. I mean, we are looking at change here. This could be a change in a job situation like I was talking about, and finding people to help you out with that. It could be change in, like you're looking to change your body, you're looking to change where you live, you're looking to change, I'm almost feeling like if you're looking to change where you live, you're moving to a new town. But what is great is then we get the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is about a brand new beginning. And the Swords is doing something logical. It's allowing information to come in. It's inspiration. I almost feel like you have this inspiring thought based off of this change. Like if nothing ever changed, if we all went along and everything was the same always, you'd never get these new ideas. And I feel like it's just kind of marching through to get new ideas. But you, particularly with these cards, have this safety net. And we've got, again, a change is in the wind. Change, change, change. Three decks talking about change for you, group 3. So if you were not excited about change, I'm sorry, but again, this is one thing that's always constant. A change in the wind is, you know, sometimes we have to weather the storm, and I feel like you have a great safety net here to do that. Not everything is black and white, and you know, we have this black and white repeated here, but specifically in this card, it's talking about, like, there are some things that never change, like the stripes on a zebra, and recognizing that, but also, again, like, wind blows in for a reason. Ace of Swords, so connected to wind. We've got new ideas and changes flowing in and flowing through to you. And then not for you. So this is interesting because you might be wanting a specific change, or you might have your eye on a specific job. And it does, you know, it kind of reminds me of, I know I'm going back to country music, Garth Brooks, 1990, but in the 90s, he had this song about unanswered prayers. And think about, like, if something that you really, really want and it doesn't come to fruition, usually because it's something better is coming in for you. And that song particularly talks about, like, prayers of him when he was in high school, and what he wanted was to marry his high school sweetheart. And then he ran into her years later at a football game, like as he attended with his children, and he's like, you know what, sometimes I'm really thankful for unanswered prayers. So a lot of times, change is very powerful, very good, but it may bring you something unexpected. You may think that you want something and it doesn't come to fruition. Don't get worried about it. Maybe you're not thinking big enough. Maybe you were like, yes, I really wanted this house or this apartment and I didn't get it. Well, the next thing is usually better. Or you lost your job. Unfortunately, I apologize for that if that's your situation. But every time that I've been in a position where I've lost my job, something better has come along, something that fits better for me. And especially when we've got these cups cards, I feel like whatever change is coming in, it's going to be really, really good for you. I feel it like in my heart chakra, feeling like so much love, like feels like chaos at the time, but it's going to be good. And I know if you're in this situation, you can write down in the comments below about how wrong I am. But I guarantee you that I'm not wrong. I guarantee you that going through this, it can be like feel pretty stormy. Like even this Ace of Swords kind of feels stormy, but that's the beginning of something new. It's taking this storm and taking those ideas that are coming in for you and running with it into a good direction. So love you, group 3. Thank you for hanging out with me today. And I will see you in the next reading.